Hello, everyone. I'm just going to do a quick run through of the breach system. I'm assuming that you are all iCasework users, experts who understand the different components like manage contacts, manage cases, etc. What I'm going to do here is submit a breach form and show you how the process is, where does it go, what's the first task to do, what are the tasks that turn up after, how do you notify a stakeholder, etc. To start off with, I will start off a breach form. This is just a form that you can publish on your intranet or on your customer portal for people to report breaches to you. First thing to mention is they can attach documents or evidences as part of the breach. They can confirm whether it's an incident, a suspected breach, or an actual breach. They can confirm the date it was identified and the date it was actually reported. Also, they can record the time these things happened. They can record the number of customers affected and the number of employees affected. These are just a list that can be configurable. You can add your custom list and say it's 0 to 100 maybe, or 100 to 200. The next option there is for you to record the category of this breach. Was it stolen data that you're calling a breach, or is it one where you have accidentally sent an email to, let's say, a supplier which has customers' details? And that will be unauthorized disclosure, including emails addressed incorrectly. And you type out the details of the breach. In my example, I'm just putting in one where it's accidentally emailed our customer's personal information to a supplier. Also contained in the email is the customer's credit card and bank account details. So this is your details section. Then you can report the consequences. What does this mean to your organization? Loss of data, breach, whatever the consequences are. The next option is for you to record your mitigation actions. What action did you take? Maybe you contacted the supplier and you asked them to maybe delete the email. That's the first thing you did. That you might want to let the handlers, the breach handlers, know. So you put that in there. Then about yourself, you can say you're an employee. It defaults to that because it's an intranet page and you're logged in. You can record the IP system that this relates to. So this can be a custom list that you have. It could be a list of your systems, and they can select which system this is about. Maybe it's your Office 365. Like that. Next is a screen where you record the affected parties. Who is affected? It could be Jane Smith, who is a customer. Her details were sent out, and you want to record her details as affected party. You could also record others. There's options to add multiple affected parties. Next. This is an optional page. I've just added it in to what we can do. Here you select the stakeholders that you want to notify of this breach. Maybe I accidentally did a breach and I want my line manager to know about it. I want to notify him. This is your way to say, actually, my line manager needs to be aware of this breach. You can either select a user in the system, or you can use the option here to put in a name and an email address of my line manager who is a user of the system. You can choose to notify multiple stakeholders using an option here, add multiple stakeholders page. Next, we'll simply create this. as you see, it's created the case, and it's assigned to the data protection office team. It's assigned to myself. I'm logged in as a support user, and I'm the administrator of that particular team, so it's assigned to myself. The details that you recorded as part of the breach form, the details of the system affected is here. The attachment that you put in is here. So this is just a test example that I put in. The first task to do is initial assessment. You will notice that in the what's next area and in the what's done area, which is a complete audit of what happened in this case, you will see that the form is there. It's notified the stakeholder, that is the line manager that I selected. So it says, yeah, there has been a suspected breach, and following protocol, we are notifying you of it and the details of the breach. So the stakeholder, the line manager, gets this email and will be aware of that's what we are trying to do. So this is assigned to the data protection office. They log in, and in their managed cases, they'll have this case. They will access it. It would also appear in their dashboards, etc., as a new case, and that's how they'll manage. Just going to show you quick what the dashboard looks like, so you get to see what's happening, and you can manage your cases from there. For this case, or for this demo, I'm just going to quickly run through this particular case. So the first task for the officer is to do a triage or an initial assessment, and I'm just going to run through that. So when you do an initial assessment, you can confirm all the details that has been recorded as part of this form. Maybe there is some tweaking that you need to do to summarize in more detail what the breach is about. You can confirm whether it's actually a suspected breach or an actual breach. In this scenario, the user who recorded it was wrong. This is actually classified as an actual breach. They have few options. They can either decide to close this case now because it's not necessary to deal with this. It's not a breach or an incident because the user was wrong and you just want to close it out. Or actually, that's reject case. You think it's not a breach, you reject it. Closing is where you don't need to do any further action, and you decide to just close it, take minimum action, etc. In this scenario, I'm going to run through one where you handle a case, and you say it's an actual breach. The date you accept this breach is today. You confirm all the details, the IT system involved, etc. You can set an impact rating. This one's a high priority one, and you say it's high, and you do next. And here again, I get a page where I can select the stakeholders that I need to notify. I need to notify a director because it's loss of data. And I'm going to select the director and next. And what this will do is email the director immediately saying there has been a breach. You're being alerted. And this has done a few things. One is it's changed the status, which was new case, to say review root causes due. The case is due in 10 working days. So that's what that shows. And these are the tasks that have been set up. The first one is to do a root cause analysis. So this is so you record the classification of this particular breach and exactly the root cause of what actually caused this issue. This is so that eventually you get reports in place so you can learn. The next task for you to do is set up stakeholder meeting. This is where you involve different directors, line managers to see what was the cause of this breach, what happened here, was it a training issue, can we improve this, do we notify an ICO, etc. And then you have the rectification actions. Is what did you learn from this, what are the corrective actions, etc. The last task, which is due in 3 days, is to notify the supervisory authority. This is where you go to the ICO and say, look, we messed up, there's a breach. I'm going to go ahead with completing the root cause. And here the classification is defaulted from what you selected in the previous screens. This is unauthorized disclosure, including emails and addressed incorrectly. You can say this is due to training issues. It's a human error. You could add multiple root causes. On this page, you can say this is actually also to do with maybe lost in transit, and it's also to do with technical and procedure failure, and it's also to do with things not being built into job training, etc. This is just your way of recording different classifications and root causes so you can learn from it. That's what we're trying to address here. These are just examples there at the moment. I'm going to proceed with the screen. The next task is to have a stakeholder meeting. You can have conference calls or meetings. Within this case, at this point, I'm just going to run through how to set up a conference call. You can say, actually, I want the call today itself, and I want it at about 7:40 a.m. or actually 19. And I can say, call us on this number to discuss whether we notify ICO and the customer. And this will give you the option to invite different stakeholders, and if you need to. And if you have someone who's not in the system, you can type the email address and they will get an invitation with an iCal invitation that they can add to their calendar, etc. So that gets sent as a conference call due at this time, and once you have the conference call, you can record the details of the conference call here, any notes that you took away, A and B, whatever your decision may be. You have the option to set up another meeting from this page. You can record the resolution details. What did you decide? Decided to notify the ICO and the customer. And next, you can add attachments there. I forgot to mention that. Then you can add application actions. So maybe there's a training issue that needs to be addressed or a culture issue that needs to be changed. Maybe you need to do performance management of a staff member, whatever that may be. You can record it here. Address data handling, guidance, training, whatever this may be that you wanna pass on. You can track this action and say, actually, the line manager should be responsible for this, and he should do it within the next 3 days. And next, and that's an action, and it's assigned it to the line manager as part of this case, for you to be able to track whether this is actually done, etc. And once it's done, you can complete it, add attachments for whenever it's due, and complete it, and it just goes off, and it's there in the audit trail saying, yeah, it's being done. The final step, which is due in 3 days, is to notify the supervisory authority. This is one where you go and you probably go to the ICO's website, complete a form, and it goes out to them. So you have done your duty, and this is the page where you probably upload the form receipt of the ICO breach form that you complete. You can say whether you have notified the ICO, yes or no. If it is no, you've got to provide reasons why you didn't, or yes, and you can say which ICO you notified. It defaults to the UK one, but for any reason, if you had to notify the Hungarian Commission, the French Commission, you can record it here, and you can say notified the ICO and the French whatever, and next. And that's really end of the workflow, and you can add more details. The breach has been closed because everything's been implemented. There's no actions to do. Upload any attachments to this and close it. And that's really end of a breach. And if ever the ICO follows up and questions you on this particular breach, you can start the supervisory authority follow-up stage, that is stage 2. You can say record reference and the ICO's details, which ICO contacted you, their complaint summary, whatever they question you on. And all this does is create starts of a new stage. Again, 10 working days. Somebody is notified of this, and there is a response to be sent to the supervisory authority. I'm sure you will have internal investigations, discussions with your directors. You can record all of that here using meetings and get comments and to-do list. And finally, you will be able to create a bundle using the document bundle of the complete history of the case, and you will be able to send this to the supervisory authority saying, yeah, we have done all this, and every action that you have done, you can justify yourself and send a response to the supervisory authority. And that's it really. And then you have an outcome to say whether it's part upheld or not upheld. That's pretty much the end of the breach workflow. Thank you.